Hey guys, welcome to my review for Crisis on Earth X. In this video, I'm going to be going over the first two parts of the crossover, which is the Supergirl and Arrow portions. Spoilers if you haven't seen those two parts. But yeah, let's just jump right in.
This isn't your Earth. Go home!
Wow, what an amazing start to the crossover. I don't know how they did it, but the CW really blew my expectations out of the water. I was not expecting it to be this awesome. I mean, I knew it'd be cool, but this one just... it really did feel like a movie, and it's just like, it was such an awesome episode. And now I'm going to go into details, I'm going to go into spoilers, so please do not complain about spoilers. I just gave you a warning, this is only for part 1, I will only talk about stuff in part 1. If you get to part 2, and you haven't seen part 2, don't watch it, etc. for the rest of the parts. But for now, let's get on to part 1. At the start of the episode, we see Earth X taking on what I assume to be as a Freedom Fighter's base of operations when he's interrupted by Earth X Guardian, James Olsen. They had a quick fight scene, but unfortunately Oliver put an arrow through James Olsen's heart, but it was still cool to see Guardian in action, trying to take on the Dark Arrow, trying to stand up for the people of Earth X, even if it didn't entirely go to plan. But it did really set the stage to what kind of person Dark Arrow was, or is I should say, what his goal is and how far he's willing to go, because he did murder everyone in that room, including Guardian. Guardian put up a fight, but he was no match for him. After that, we see Barry fighting against King Shark and Iris panicking about the RSVPs to the wedding. I mean, to be fair to Iris, you don't RSVP for a wedding the night before the wedding, or the night before the rehearsal dinner, I should say. If you're going to do it, you're going to do it way before that. That's just rude and inconsiderate, so I completely understand why she's all worked up, but you don't need to bring it up when your fiancé is fighting a giant shark man in the middle of the street and he's getting his ass handed to him. Good job, Iris. GG. Plenty of times you could have brought that up before that. Still, it did add some humour to it, which I was kind of worried this crossover would be a little bit dry in terms of humour because of the content, but so far it seems to be humorous but tasteful. I think that's the best way to put it. Humorous but tasteful. Overall, I found this episode to be really enjoyable, just except for the Felicity stuff. Look, I used to love Felicity. She was one of my favourite characters on Arrow. Now, it's just every single scene she's in with Oliver, she's just being manipulative, she's being bitchy, she's just being toxic to him. Like, her yelling, "I don't want to marry you," at the rehearsal dinner of Barry and Iris' wedding was just... why? Why bother including it? It's just... I know they need to pad stuff out, but just... if I was Oliver, I would have just turned around and left. Like, you know what, I'll be at the wedding tomorrow, but nah, stuff you, Felicity. I'm not going anywhere near you. That's just... I hate Felicity. I hate it. Most of the ships on these shows, I can handle. Just Felicity is just crap. What was nice about the rehearsal dinner was it was seeing all the characters interact with each other, talk, like Alex and Sarah getting along pretty well, if you know what I mean. We had Mick stealing Cisco's beer, which I found quite funny. Jax and Stein, there was a little bit of clashing there, but it felt natural, didn't feel out of place, just felt really normal. Joe had a really good moment. Joe talking to everyone was really, really sweet. I love that bit. That was so well done. We had Barry and Kara talking, and Barry's trying to offer her advice, and then she gives him something that he's got no idea what about, and he just goes, "Oh!" So, yeah, it was nice to see those two interact, and then, probably one of my favourite parts of the episode was Kara singing her rendition of "Runnin' Home to You," which is what Barry sung to Iris when he proposed to her again in the musical crossover last year, or I should say, actually this year. It was Duet. But yes, that was a very sweet moment, and it really set the stage, and Melissa Benoist's acting talent is amazing, and her singing voice is even better. We did get our first quick look at what I assume to be Dawn Allen, Iris and Barry's future daughter, coming back in time to watch their wedding, because she's a speedster and she can travel through time using the Speed Force, which I think that's who she was. I'm not entirely sure, but, you know, we'll just have to wait and see where that comes up again. The fight scene at the wedding was amazing, having everyone running around, everyone doing their own thing. No one felt unimportant. Even Mick had a lot to do. Killer Frost, Ice Sword was just, that was amazing. Like, beyond amazing. I love that bit. Kara versus Overgirl was pretty cool, flying up in the sky and seeing Joe sort of look up and go, what the hell's going on? Then we had Sarah and Alex fighting side by side, even though they were a little bit awkward with each other because of the scene beforehand and the one-night stand. But it was cool to see them taking down Prometheus, and we got our first little glimpse at something between Oliver and Kara from Earth X when our Kara, knocked Overgirl over, and Earth X Oliver immediately called for a retreat. So that was interesting. It quickly goes to the end of the episode where we see Jax and Sarah putting Prometheus in a cell. Cisco's unconscious with a concussion, and everyone's trying to figure out what the hell happened. And Felicity is a little bit uncomfortable with the idea of Nazis, which I do get because she is Jewish, and those two kinds of people didn't get along very well, as you probably know. But yeah, so overall episode, I think I'd give it an 8 out of 10. Besides the Elicity stuff, it was really, really, really good. There was just a few minor nitpicks I had here and there, but other than that, it was a very, very solid episode, and I can't wait to see part 2.
This isn't your Earth. Go home.
Tommy Merlin is Prometheus. He's Earth X Prometheus. To be honest, I was kind of expecting it, but it was still cool to see him lift off the mask and then just Tommy Merlin standing there. We haven't seen Tommy in the flesh since the end of Season 1 of Arrow. We're in Season 6 at the moment. It's been a long time. We've seen versions of him where he's like a vision or a ghost, but this was Tommy Merlin. This was the Tommy Merlin, just the Earth X version of him. I feel like Colin Donnell really gave it everything he could for the performance. The scene where he's talking to Oliver and he's scared because the Fuhrer will kill everyone he cares about if he gives up any of their secrets. Oliver's trying to say to him, it's okay, I'll protect you, I've got you, you're safe here. It really had me going, and then as soon as Tommy looks down and goes, well then you're a special kind of idiot, I'm like, oh god damn it. He had me going. He had me right there on his finger. I loved that performance. The way he sounded so scared and frightened, but still so tough, and just, that scene was utterly perfect and well done. And it was heartbreaking to see Tommy go again when he, did he bite or swallow cyanide? I think he had a cyanide pill that he just bit into, and then he died because of it. Oliver trying to reach for the controls fast enough to get him out of there, but he just couldn't get to him in time, and now Prometheus is dead. And now our Earth X villains have one less villain to fight for their side against our Earth 1 and Earth 38 heroes. But yes, that scene was amazing. Props to Colin Donnell and Stephen Amell for giving it their best. From what I heard on Twitter, Colin actually flew down to Vancouver at midday, filmed that scene, flew back to where he was filming his medical show. I can't remember what it's called, Chicago something. But yes, it was awesome to see that. And to see him flying there, doing the performance, flying home, and just giving it his all, and not making it rushed or anything. It was a really nice touch. I'm very, very, very happy they did that. Then after that scene, we get to see more of the Earth X villains, which is Reverse Flash, Dark Arrow, and Overgirl. And the way these characters interact with each other was really interesting, because Oliver was actually quite human, and he had struggles. He was sad that Tommy was dead. As much as he tried to convince himself, saying, Tommy should have died before he allowed himself to be captured, it was still really intense to see him really upset. And then Eobard's winding up, he's pissing him off, and then Oliver snaps, puts an arrow to his throat. Eobard's about to kill him, and then Kara steps in and manages to nearly break Eobard's wrist, and they both back off, they both sort of calm down, and then they both sort of kind of apologize to each other. Oliver says please to Eobard very nicely, and Eobard sort of does what he says, without any complaints or anything, which was good. It shows these characters have a lot more depth than, look at me, I'm the evil version of so-and-so, which was what Savitar ended up being from The Flash Season 3. And then we get the realization, or the revelation, that Earth X Oliver and Kara are a couple. They're married on Earth X. They are married. They're together. Their kiss was I kind of saw it coming because Stephen Amell kept teasing it and bringing it up in interviews. He never outright say it, but it was just that was really, really weird to see. It was good, though. Their relationship was very human. You could tell that they genuinely loved each other. You could tell that there was care, there was love, and then there was sentiment for each other, as much as they would talk about sentiment being a bad thing. I feel like the relationship will change, and it will go south very quickly, maybe in part 3 and 4. But for now, I think it's an okay relationship, because it doesn't seem toxic, it doesn't seem unhealthy, it seems like these two genuinely love each other, and they only want the best for each other. Later on in the episode, we get a realization that Oliver has a choice to make. He has to choose between the Reich or staying with Kara. Now, I'm thinking, I haven't seen part 3 and 4 yet. I've seen part 1 and 2 at the time of recording this, but not part 3 and 4, so this isn't a spoiler, this is just a guess. But I think that Oliver is the Führer, and I think that he has duties to the Reich, and if he doesn't fulfill them, he will get in trouble, and he will maybe even be executed. So I feel like, because Kara does say at one point, I'll take the choice out of his hands if it comes to between me and the Reich. So I'm thinking that she's willing to dump him and give him up if it means that he gets to have a successful future in the Reich as the Führer. Which is sweet if they weren't Nazis, but still, it shows genuine care, and it's much better than Elicity. It was honestly really fun and interesting to watch. It was better than Elicity, and I'm really enjoying it as it is, and I can't wait to see it progress in part 3 and 4 tonight. There wasn't an awful lot happening in this episode as a whole. It was mostly just setting up for future stuff. We get to see the Earth X villains take the Prism, which we find out later on, then that is to replicate a red sun, which can dampen Kryptonian powers and turn them into just humans. It takes the solar radiation out of their cells, so they're just kind of human, and they can be hurt like humans. And then what they need that for is Earth X Kara has been... she quotes it by saying, like Icarus, I flew too close to the sun. She's absorbed too much solar radiation, and she needs a cure. She needs a new heart, and that heart, she needs Kara's. Earth-38 Kara's. So, at the end of the episode, they're captured, which is Alex, Sarah, Firestorm, Green Arrow, The Flash, Supergirl, and I think that's it. They're taken out by Metallo, which... I knew he was in the crossover from the poster, which they stupidly released. It would have been really cool if I didn't know he was coming at all. But I wasn't expecting him to be there, so it was kind of cool to just see him like for a split second and go, oh, that's Metallo. But yes, the acting in this episode was phenomenal. We got to see Dark Arrow take on Team Arrow, which was really damn cool, even if Team Arrow got their ass kicked and locked in the pipeline. Killer Frost and Heatwave worked together to try and take out Dark Arrow, but that didn't work either. That just kind of fell apart. And, yeah, we get to see more of a human side to the Earth X villains, which really does make them more compelling to watch. And I think Oliver and Kara had the best thing going on, because they're not, like, cackling, mustache-twirling villains. They're not villains in their own heads. What they're doing is they believe they're right. They believe what they're doing is good and just and fair and better for mankind. So they're doing this because they think it's right, which makes them a hell of a lot more scary, because they're not evil. They just believe that they're right, which is very, very terrifying, but also very compelling. And I find that it's interesting to see that they think their counterparts are weak and pathetic, even though they've taken on some of like the world's deadliest villains. It was just really interesting to see like how the Earth X villains perceived their counterparts. Oliver and Kara think they're weak, and Thorne's just there to mess with Barry and just trying to, like... Barry can never really escape the Reverse Flash. That's never gonna happen. But still, it's just like, it's cool to see him back again. It was really nice. But, yes. And then, at the end of the episode, Iris and Felicity are in Star Labs while it's in lockdown. They weren't captured. We don't know what's happened to Cisco, but our main heroes wake up in what appears to be a concentration camp on Earth X, because you see the striped pajamas in the background, with the shaved heads, which is just like... It's a little bit confronting. And that about wraps it up for my review for Crisis on Earth X Part 1 and 2. If you did enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like and consider subscribing, and I'll see you back for Part 3 and 4. Bye, guys!